So, good morning, everybody. Myself, Acharya Vishvendra, and today I'm going to discuss about how to overcome the exam anxiety during solving questions of JEE and NEET. So, let's begin with the discussion. So, here the topic of discussion is how to dominate anxiety while solving JEE and NEET problems. To understand it, let's start by solving a question. There is a rigid body, and a force is applied on it at a height of h from the center of mass. Then we need to find the condition for which friction on the disk by ground is in plus x direction, friction on the disk is along minus x direction, and friction is 0. So first of all, you solve this question. Take 30 seconds and try to solve this question, that how you are going to solve this question. Now I suppose you must have realized that you must have felt a sort of hurry, a sort of unstable thoughts, a sort of anxiety. And I think 90% of the students have to go through that emotional trauma phase. And only 10% students are able to dominate that and work on the problem. So here is a solution, that first of all, net force is equal to mass into acceleration of center of mass. Net torque about the center is I into alpha, and for pure rolling ACM is equal to R alpha. I is equal to mk square, and after solving we get Fs is equal to F h by R minus k square by R square upon 1 plus k square by R square. So friction will be positive when h by R minus k square by R square is positive. So that means h by R is greater than k square by R square. So h should be greater than k square by R when friction acts forward. Similarly, friction will act downward, then it will be negative. So h will be less than k square by R, and friction will be 0 when h is equals to k square by R. So this is a simple algorithm to solve this particular question. But initially when you start solving problems, then you feel a bit of anxiety, low feelings, depression, confusions, thoughts, multiple thoughts in fact, and that interferes with your capability to solve and focus on a particular problem. So apart from learning how to solve questions, how to solve questions of physics, chemistry, maths or bio, you should also learn how to dominate the flight mode of the mind, or how to overcome the exam anxiety. Because during my working as a student and even as a teacher in top coaching institutes of Kota in Delhi, I just realized that most of the students face exam anxiety, about 90% of the students, and they are not able to dominate that anxiety mode or dominate the flight mode of the mind, because of which they are unable to convert their studies, their efforts into results. So we have started the concept of optimal worksheets, which is designed on the basis of psychologically designed patterns to check that whether you become anxious on solving questions. So the questions are given level wise, so that apart from learning how to solve questions, you are also comfortable with dominating the anxiety mode of the mind brain system. Because what I have realized is that this anxiety problem interferes a lot in your result. Many of the students are very talented, they have very good knowledge of the subject, but when they solve problems, then they become anxious. So many things happen in them in a short span of time, and they are not able to manage those emotional conflicts or the psychological and neurological processes, because of which they are unable to convert their efforts into the results. So we thought for providing a solution to this, and the solution is use of optimal worksheets. And check yourself, when you solve a particular problem, learn how to dominate the flight mode of the mind. So it is a gradual process. It can only be solved if you adapt to the stressful process of solving a particular problem. Because when you solve a problem, then simultaneously you have to focus on so many things, And if you are not able to synchronize those processes, then it induces a sort of hurry, a sort of anxiety, and that ultimately leads to your capability to solve a particular question. Let's take this point with a scientific perspective. As you must be knowing that suppose this is human brain, so it is comprising of the largest part is cerebrum, and cerebrum is composed of four lobes: the frontal, temporal, parietal, and occipital. Frontal lobe is used for analysis, temporal lobe for integrated information, auditory information, parietal for visualization, and occipital lobe for processing the visual information. So, in a nutshell, when you solve a particular problem, multiple lobes gets activated to form a neural pattern, and that neural pattern needs to use multiple lobes, and those multiple lobes uses are activated at different frequencies. So, if you ask yourself when you analyze, then that analysis takes place at a different frequency. If you visualize, that visualization is happening at a different frequency. If you are retrieving visual information, that requires a different frequency. And if you require an auditory information, that requires a different frequency. So basically we are dealing with the process of brainwave frequency modulation, which is a very complex process and which can only be learned gradually. So if you are comfortable, you have learned the art of brainwave frequency modulation, then things are very easy for you. But if you are not comfortable in that process, then you will suffer. Now talking about the brain waves are the connecting link between brain and the mind. And as per EEG, these are composed of alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and theta. Delta has got minimum frequency and gamma has got maximum frequency. And this so the entire turning process is frequency modulation techniques, and which can be developed by gradual practice. So we have introduced the concept of OST, mind training program, which is a 21 days mind training program to make you learn the process of brainwave frequency modulation. So you can search my book on Amazon, Flipkart, and Notion Press with the name OST by Acharya Vishvendra. And you can also search for YouTube videos OST by Acharya Vishvendra on YouTube. So you can have get access to that. So our effort is to make students learn the fundamental process of cracking any competitive exams, which is not linked to the conventional or to the subjective or to the traditional method of studying, because something extra is needed, and that extra is the use of mind and brain as a coordinated system. And in that also the most technical point is use of brainwave frequency modulation. So that is how things work. So we are doing our best to make sure that students are tech savvy and are comfortable with the leading with the ongoing complexities, with the ongoing demands in any sector, because you must be knowing that in the coming days AI will dominate most of the things, and you will be able to survive, you will be able to fetch money, you will be able to fetch a job only if you have skills as per that time, even more advanced than the requirements of the time. So only then you will be able to survive. So this is just a scientific perspective on how you will adapt to the ongoing challenges, and that ongoing challenge is about learning the frequency of the brain waves or learning the brainwave frequency modulation. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the doubt section. Thank you and have a nice day.